Hi, and welcome to Tim and Joel, Call It in the Ring. It's Thursday night. We're going to talk a little bit about wrestling and a whole lot about some bad television ratings. How you doing, Joel?
Tim, I'm doing great. I'm ready. I'm willing. I'm able. I'm here. And I'm ready for you. How are you doing?
A little uncomfortable now. A little uncomfortable.
Perfect. Well, we're here to make you a little more comfortable with your wrestling talk, with your fun and your games and everything. And if you like what we're talking about, you can always go over to streamlabs.com/TimandJoelPod. Leave us some tip jar love because that's just how we go for now. It's the holiday season. I know that your pockets are maybe a little more bare, but if you got a little bit, you can spend a little bit. You can send it over to us, streamlabs.com/TimandJoelPod. By the way, TLC this Sunday, PW Unlimited. Tim, we're going to give our picks, aren't we?
We are going to give our picks, and I have some thoughts on winners, and I'm excited to share them.
We'll have those for you on Sunday up on PW Unlimited. And if you like us and you subscribe to us on YouTube, we appreciate it. And you can do that right now. Like the video if you're watching live. Subscribe to us on YouTube, timandjoelpod.com. That's where you'll find us. And finally, Tim.
What?
Saturdays at 8 p.m. on the YouTube, on youtube.com/Fightful, I play video games with Jeremy Lambert and this week Joe Hobart. Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
I like playing video games with those guys. They are good people. So come and join us Saturday night, Fightful Gaming, youtube.com/Fightful. But for now, you're here and we're here to talk wrestling. Can we talk wrestling, Tim?
I guess we should probably talk wrestling. That's what we've carved out this time for. We've come together. We've brought the people to our doorstep. Let's begin.
We're going to break a rule today, Tim.
Oh.
We're breaking the cardinal rule of our show. Remember when we started, I said, we're not going to talk about ratings. We're not that group.
Yeah, and I also don't know anything about it.
Well, here we are talking about ratings. Two guys who didn't want to talk about it. One guy who didn't know what to think about it. We're going to talk about ratings.
All right, we'll try anyway. No promises.
So Monday Night Raw came and went. For those who watched live like myself, it dragged. For the recappers, it was more fun to talk about literally anything except for Raw. For anyone who has been watching Raw every single week for God knows how long, maybe it was tough. But you're not alone because 1.527 million viewers watched Monday Night Raw. That is a record low, Tim.
See, that sounds like a lot of people. From my friend reference.
Not when you take into account that in 2019, the lowest rated episode of Raw scored 2.05. And that was December 17th. When Lana asked Lashley to marry him.
Oh, those were dark times.
Yes. And then the year before that, in 2018, 2.19, December 10th, Rousey and Ronda Rousey, Nia Jax have a face-to-face. Dolph Ziggler takes on Drew McIntyre. Yes, WWE champion Drew McIntyre. And Seth Rollins and Baron Corbin have not only a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship, but later in the show, Seth calls out Baron Corbin for his inabilities and his failures as Raw general manager.
I mean, did Seth really save Monday Night Raw, though?
No, because you know what happened the next week, Tim?
What?
In the ring stood Triple H, Stephanie McMahon,
I do.
Vince McMahon, and Shane McMahon.
Oh, no.
And they announced that we, the fans, are the authority. Yeah. So Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful compiled a little bit of a list. And these were the failures of Raw, their attempts from the last 2 years, okay? So we just talked about you are the authority. That's a thing that happened. The Superstar Shakeup, that's a thing that kind of still happens. The wild card rule, which was born out of the Superstar Shakeup. The brand to brand invitational, which was born out of the wild card rule, which is born out of the Superstar Shakeup. Yes, they are. No commercials during matches, which led to a whole bunch of best 2 out of 3 falls or reset and restarts because Vince suddenly said, why is there wrestling during the commercials? We don't need that.
Yeah, and now we have picture-in-picture, which just means there's long, boring periods during matches. And longer commercials.
Raw Dark, which honestly I had to go back and figure out. It only lasted 2 weeks, so let's just not think about that. Raw Underground, Tim, your favorite MMA enthusiast group.
which disappeared almost as suddenly as it appeared.
Almost as if running in a closed space during a pandemic with people who are not part of your regular rotation is a bad idea.
Almost.
Retribution, they're still around. They were born out of a bunch of unhappy investors asking, hey, Vince, what are you going to do about these ratings? And then we have Molotov's cocktails and whatever we're seeing now with Retribution. Louis Dangoor from Wrestle Talk then brought up the random call-ups of Aleister Black, Ricochet, Johnny Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa, to which nothing would happen. Almost all of those men would go back down to NXT. Gargano and Ciampa would stay back down in NXT. Black and Ricochet, they're still there. Aleister Black's not on TV.
Yeah, Aleister Black's not on TV. Ricochet is cast to the wasteland that is a Retribution storyline. So
that's right. And I know there are more, but this is just the one last one that I got to bring up. The hiring and firing of Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman as the executive directors of Raw and SmackDown individually. Bischoff never even sniffed SmackDown as the executive director, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not even surprised.
Yeah. Here's the reality. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, look, I like Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman. Just creatively, like creative arts in general, like I don't think you can rely on people who have had long-term success late in their careers. Because just generally, I see that people struggle to remain relevant and interesting and try to, like recapture their heyday. Like they never do it because it's difficult to do that in a creative art, especially when you're still in the exact same format. So like, I don't know. Yeah, I still think that getting rid of those two is the right call. Like, I think they would have had the same difficulties that Vince McMahon is having right now. I know they're a bit more beloved than McMahon, but like, I think more from Eric Bischoff or Paul Heyman would be about the same as what we're seeing now. I think what they refuse to do is bring in younger, hungrier people. They're not an organization that seems to love doing that. So
you're absolutely right. And here's a reality. We've been seeing dropping ratings for a decade. We just talked about 3 years worth. And that's just the drop in a bucket. And at the same time, Tim, counting ratings, it's a little bit archaic.
Yeah, because it doesn't factor in a lot. Like there's so much on the internet that isn't being counted for. Honestly, I think I'd look at social media engagement and merch sales more than absolutely anything.
And when you do, that's when WWE, for better or worse, in this case creatively, that's when they win. Because their social media numbers are above everyone's. Their merch numbers, in a pandemic, not so great. But at a live show, 100%. They are what makes up the money.
Yeah, and like I didn't hate Raw that much this week. It was the first week in a while that I didn't absolutely hate most of it.
I will ask, and I know the answer, but I'll let you answer. Did you watch it live?
No, absolutely not. Because why the hell would I?
So that's a good question. Why the hell would you watch it live now? Because I think there are so many people. I've had this weird thing in my head for a while where, and I don't think it's the be all end all. I don't think it's the answer. It's just something that I think about sometimes when it comes to how we watch wrestling and how we begin the week. It's Monday and we're all just getting back to work, into the groove, whatever we're doing. It's been a long day. Now we're going to sit down for 3 hours of Raw live. That's a long day. You're already not in a great mindset, at least in most cases. Again, I'm not speaking for everyone, but that's tough.
No, by the time you're speaking for at least 50% of at least America and Canada. At least 50% of people are going to their crap-ass Monday job and working themselves to death and coming home pretty beaten down. Like, I was looking at the median wage for the U.S. and Canada today. And at least 50% you're speaking for. So That's all I can say about it. But.
Then you get to the middle of the week. You're watching two companies at odds combat. You know, they're in combat. There is a bit of a ratings war, if you will, and that's NXT and AEW. But regardless of how you feel about it, there is still some sort of competition going on Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
And that's enticing to a certain amount of people. And it's also the middle of the week. We've gotten through Tuesday. We're now midway through. We've gone there. By the time we get to Friday and we get to a 2-hour show that is easily available and only 2 hours, and on most weeks delivers, it's easier to talk a little bit higher about it, isn't it?
Yeah. 100% easier. Like this, I'll watch stuff and forget. Like I need to take notes for this stuff, or it seeps out of my mind, because it isn't like there's memorable moments, but large chunks of a 3-hour show completely get like gone from my memory. Even SmackDown, like I had to rewatch some things just to remind myself of what even happened, because it's just not that like, it's not must see TV by any means. So I don't know, like it's hard to focus.
And this is the thing. This is, I think a lot of people who are listening to us or have any interest in us should know that between the two of us, I'm the one who's clearly like, I'm watching live. I'm the one that you'll see doing the whole wrestling talk 99.9% of the time. And Tim, you're not as in it as I am. Can I say that?
Yeah, you can say that. Like, if I weren't doing this show, I wouldn't be watching Raw, and I probably wouldn't be watching SmackDown. I would probably limit my viewing to Wednesday nights as a casual fan. And it's rough because I really do like a lot of the performers on Monday and Friday, but it's not enough. Like the writing is so plotting, and some of the decisions, like the storylines are deeply unsatisfying in a lot of cases. So it's not enough to keep me watching. And SmackDown being on a Friday night is tough for me. Like I'm far too social of a person to spend my Friday night like watching SmackDown live. So.
Not lately.
Well, not lately, yeah, damn. Well, I mean, I don't know. I'll play Call of Duty with friends, right? Like, and I might have SmackDown on the other monitor. Like, when we're talking about this, like, thinking about television and the people who still use TV, even though they still have TV, they don't just set it on a channel and leave it. Like, I would say that most people have that remote close at hand. So the second a commercial comes on or they lose interest, they're flipping to other channels, right? And they'll come back to it. But like television, there's so many options now. Like you're not sitting there fixated on one channel. So like, I don't know. It's a dying medium. There will come a day where these shows are going to be on the WWE network as part of a subscription model. And I think for as much money as the WWE definitely makes from advertisers, that is going to continue to decline over time. And when their contracts expire, it would be in their best interest to be forward thinking and try to negotiate some wiggle room for like a simultaneous broadcast or a day after broadcast on the network. Because right now, like the only reason I don't like having the network at all is because I can't watch Raw and SmackDown there.
Not live, at least.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, I can watch it like up 2 weeks later. It feels like no, it needs to be the same week.
I think you and I have talked about this a little bit. I know we have, and I'll bring it up again. In the next 5 to 10 years, probably closer to 5 than 10, you will be able to watch WWE programming on Twitch for your sub. If you have a Prime sub, whatever the subscription service is, they will do it. Yeah. That's what I think.
Yeah, the model's changing, and like it's fine. It's just with that you get direct analytics, and the information about that is a hell of a lot better than anything Nielsen ever had. So I think it's worth 100%. Starting to plan for that transition because it's coming. So
okay. So there's a lack of interest in what WWE is putting on TV right now. I think we know this too.
Maybe. Like, I still think that they get enough viewership. Is it declining? Probably. But that's because, the quality of their program has shifted. And there's a lot of reasons for that. It's not, you can't just say it's bad writing or anything like that. Like, that's not the only reason.
Go on.
What I was talking about last week. The danger has reduced significantly. And like,
Okay.
you know, it's America. Like it's explosions and people walking away without looking. If you strip away the risk, like football's the big thing for a reason. NASCAR is not big because people like the sport of going around fast, right? Like a big part of that is the threat of danger. And if WWE is uncomfortable with that, you start to see it. I do anyway. Like, that's the difference between the main program and NXT for me. The young people are taking risks, whereas the main roster do not. And it feels sterile.
I love that you went to the explosions in the U.S. Like, the idea of, like, things blowing up make people happy. You're not wrong.
That's American culture for me, man. It's like, you know, it's what I grew up with. I'm into it. I'm not denigrating it by any means.
There is another thing, and that is the fact that people love unexpected big things and nostalgia, but I don't want to go down the nostalgia route because I just don't need to see Goldberg. I don't like Sting on AEW is starting to already get stale in the eyes of many people, so we're not going to go down nostalgia way. But the Vince McMahon gimmick for popping a rating always be repeating. It's just going to be, it's going to be something he's already done. It's going to be something new. We saw today, and we're going to get into this in a minute, on WWE.com, that TLC, it's going to be a Firefly Inferno match between Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton. Whatever that is, I don't know. We'll find out.
It's going to be an Inferno match, just like we've seen before, right? Like, it's the same thing with TLC and Hell in a Cell. Like, those matches used to feel special because they would come out of nowhere when they felt appropriate, and the stuff that happened in them was terrifying, which is why they didn't do them all the time. Now there's a scheduled slot for it every single year. It does not appeal anymore. And the things that happen in them are repetitive and usually dull with maybe a couple of interesting moments, but they're not like, you know, they're not the type of moments that are going to lead to some guy on Reddit repeatedly pasting over transitions about a single moment in time describing it. Like, they're not the same. Like, it's just not the same. It's not Rikishi falling off the cell into the back of a flatbed or, you know, Mankind. Like, it's just not the same. And having it preordained once a year feels really weak to me. Like, it doesn't, it loses its luster.
And at the end of the day, a lot of us are going to turn and say, it's Vince McMahon. It's the one person who has the final say and obviously has not been able to keep up and understand where the world is going and what would make a wrestling program popular in 2020, 2019, 2018, going on 20 years, whatever. Someone in the Facebook chat, if you're watching us live, is asking me to do my best Vince McMahon impression to explain why the ratings are down. And the best that I can say is ratings aren't down. We're still ahead in social media. People still love us. And February 24th. He's a dog.
I'm gonna stop you right there because one, that's a terrible impression. Two, you said Facebook chat. We are on YouTube. Get your corporate oligarchs correct.
I can't even do my own show.
No. That's the other monopoly. We're on this alphabet one.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
Okay, well, listen, Vince McMahon leaving is the answer. It's not going to happen until he's dead. Let's face it. So what can you do? We need something. And by the way, call-ups are not the answer. I really need people to stop saying that Rhea Ripley needs to join Raw. No, she does not.
If you want to watch her run after R-Truth to get the 24/7 championship, then yeah, by all means, bring Rhea Ripley up. But like, I don't know, seeing the Viking Raiders deal with what they're dealing with, injuries aside, I don't know. It's devastating to me to watch a team that I found very exciting in NXT transition into whatever the hell they've been doing. Axe throwing competitions, etc.
PW Torch did put out a tweet the other day that made me laugh. And it was, if you were to offer Vince McMahon 2 concise, specific pieces of advice to improve the WWE TV product and win back viewers, what would be those 2 specific priorities / changes?
Trust your writers, number one. And like,
Yep.
and it sucks because like the writers there now probably aren't any good, because I feel like they've had passionate writers who knew wrestling with the skills to back it up, and they've driven them away. So like,
So I will say this. Sorry, I'm going to cut you off, because with the
Yeah.
writers, you're not wrong. They have passionate writers. They have people who are more Hollywood and TV backing, and unfortunately, they all know how to play the game. And the game is to write for a audience of uno, one man that we were just talking about. That's how it is.
Yep.
So we're stuck until he's dead, Tim, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, it's brutal. Other than that, I don't know. Like, I'd suggest cutting an hour off of Raw, but that would be like financially incompatible. I don't. That would be a dumb move on their part, but it would make me happy.
All right. I wanted to talk about Lana. I did. I still do. She got removed from the TLC match this Sunday. And we, first of all, we are large proponents of Lana here on the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
What the
Big
hell?
Lana stan. I don't know why. Do you know why? Do you know any reason why that happened?
No idea why. Unless this is a story. And first of all, I hate the idea of doing a Charlotte comeback just for this story, because it's end of December and this is not time to bring back Charlotte. So no, if this is the only thing that makes sense is Dana Brooke teams with Asuka and they lose, and then the next night it's Dana and Mandy on Raw. They win the tag team championships, and then Asuka gets whoever's next, and Lana's just gone. Or Asuka deep in the show says, "I'll do it on my own," and then out comes Lana with a crutch and a hand, and it's a big "I did it" story because she lucks into a victory, and they're the tag team champions. Or she's out until the Rumble, and then she wins the Royal Rumble, and we're going to WrestleMania, and Lana's going to main event for the Women's Championship.
That seems a lot more long-term than they're willing to write. So I don't know. Maybe. They've done the one person winning the tag titles before, like, haven't they? That's not a completely novel thing. So I could see maybe that. I don't know.
People in the chat saying Kairi Sane could return. Please no, she's not. I highly doubt
right?
it.
Like, that
not
would be an insane decision from her own personal life, and
and Nikki Cross as well. By the way, Kairi Sane, not Kairi, but Nikki Cross, who was on main event this past week and lost to Lacey Evans. So there's that. Remember Lacey Evans and Peyton Royce? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Brief.
so I don't get it. I don't understand it. I probably will figure out by Mania what the heck's going on. But to me, makes no sense. Don't know why we're doing it.
Well, we'll see something on Sunday, right? But I don't know.
I hope so. I'm bringing this up because this is my coup for the week. I'm going to give myself a pat on the back, Tim. I hope you don't mind.
Okay. Well, you tell me what it is, and then I'll decide whether or not I mind.
Some of you may have seen over on Fightful a little article about Melina and NXT and Johnny Fairplay making just casually dropping a little tidbit. That actually came from me to Jeremy Lambert because I'm listening to Wade Keller. I'm listening to his TLC preview show with Johnny Fairplay and one of his Torch regulars, and Fairplay, yes, Johnny Fairplay from Survivor, casually drops that Melina was supposed to debut in NXT as a member of the Robert Stone brand, and then Melina had to have knee surgery before her debut, so that plan was scrapped. And then today, PW Insider actually commented on the article that Jeremy wrote, saying, quote, "We confirmed that the original plan was for Melina to return in September and debut with the Robert Stone brand and not on Raw or SmackDown. Stone had started building to that whole Melina thing after Mercedes Martinez left the brand and hinted at managing bigger stars. Melina was brought to Orlando, but that was the week of that huge COVID-19 outbreak. And so her debut never happened. The idea was for Melina to put over younger talent, help them learn and showcase themselves as better stars."
What might have been?
Which she had been doing. She had been doing that with the NWA, by the way.
That would have been cool. It's a shame that didn't work out.
Yeah, you know what? I'm still hoping that we see Melina. I do think that the NXT women's division, as strong as it is in NXT, there's a certain dichotomy. You can see who the big stars are, who are getting it and moving forward with it. And then you can see, and we'll talk about it in hits and misses, those who are on their way, but might need one or two things to kind of push them above.
Yeah, for sure.
So Melina would be nice. I still want to see it. We'll see what's going to go on. And again, it's fun. It's wrestling. Enjoy.
Yeah, I really like the Robert Stone brand shtick anyway, and I think that would have been a good vehicle for it too. Like that could have been cool.
Totally.
Still could be.
Yes. Well, you know what else is going to be good? The Firefly Inferno match, because nobody knows what the hell it is.
Again, like it's just an Inferno match with puppets. Like
Will they light the puppets on fire?
Yes, probably. At least one of them. The one that always dies. It's the rabbit, right? Does he always die? He dies often.
Although now he's Riddle's favorite rabbit.
He also looks the most flammable. So, Baby Broda.
Baby Broda. That was a thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, we found out, like I said earlier today, that at TLC, Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt will face off in a Firefly Inferno match. The only reason this is coming up right now is because at the towards the middle of Raw, you saw Randy Orton trick Bray into the room where he lit a casket. No, not a casket. It was just a giant box.
Just a big old box with a false bottom.
There you go. And out came the Fiend, and we were off to the races. Okay.
I mean, they love using fire spots in WWE in like such a strange way, but it also always forecasts like a match stipulation, and that's exactly what's happened here, right? Like, it was less than 30 minutes later, they're like, Firefly Inferno match, and I was like, yeah, I know. And like, that's a couple of really slow dudes to be doing like another high risk match. So like, I hope they embrace the cinematic format for it, is all I can say, because that's honestly, I think, where Bray is doing his best work, and I think that's the most I'll enjoy Randy Orton, is if they give it the breathing room of something, you know, that they can call cut on.
Right. Yes. And we've seen lately that WWE is using more of that cinematic approach with Orton specifically, kind of doing those recuts, those re-edits, whatever you want to call it. So we'll see. Someone in the chat is saying 5-minute Orton headlock with the Ring of Fire.
This is why I was ripping on this when it was going to be Drew versus Randy and Hell in a Cell, and I was like, oh, that's going to be one of the most boring matches in Hell in a Cell ever. And like the fact that they went on the roof, I was like, no one's falling off that. And sure enough, the most exciting thing about that match was matching accessories. They just accessorized the cell well.
We'll see how high those flames get on Sunday. Yeah, I will be in the Thunderdome. I will. Okay. I got my registration. I'll go. I'll do it. I'll do it for all you people. I swear.
You should screen cap it. Violate their trust. They'll probably have some little like fire graphic at the bottom of your screen. Maybe, I don't know. How do you zhuzh that up?
Don't excite me so much.
All I'm saying, I'm praying for a cinematic match because I think that could be really, really good with those two. Like, and I liked the backstage segments this week. Like, I enjoyed Bray walking around backstage. I enjoyed his interaction with Riddle. And then the rocking chair there as bait was pretty funny. And he like sat and he's like, yes. And then he, you know, I didn't mind any of that. I really did. I also knew that it was going to be a stipulation like that. So.
Well, our only stipulation is that if you like what we're doing, and you like what you're listening to, you can leave us some tip jar love over at streamlabs.com/TimandJoelPod, because eventually we'll get monetized. We got to 100 subs. We're at 102. So we got that. If you're on YouTube, you can like the video, you can subscribe. That would be great. If you want TLC predictions, that's on PW Unlimited from us on Sunday, probably.
Yeah, Sunday. Yeah, I feel like I'll do it Sunday.
And again, because I can, Fightful Gaming stream. I'll be with Jeremy Lambert and Joe Holbert Saturday, 8 p.m. Join us. That's Eastern Standard Time for those of you, because I know some of you are in Ireland and Singapore and parts of the U.S. listening to us that are not Eastern Standard. So thank you. All right. I put out something earlier to the fans, and I said, fans, really? I know. I just sound so contrived. The look on your face. That's so contrived. To our friends, I said, it's a slow news week. What do you want us to talk about? we've done a pretty good job so far. But Alex Thomas had written in a few things for us to talk about. What are the next steps in the AEW and Impact Wrestling partnership? To which I'll also add Ron Patel bringing up the Hard to Kill main event with Kenny Omega, the AEW champion, and the Good Brothers from Impact taking on the Motor City Machine Guns and Impact World Champion Rich Swann at Hard to Kill. That's an Impact pay-per-view. By the way, Motor City Machine Guns are also... Oh, no, sorry. Good Brothers are the Impact Tag Champions. So 3 titles in that match, 2 of which are Impact and 1 of the AEW. Anyway, what do you think is next with the AEW and Impact partnership, and who's winning?
Here's the first thing. You told me that what's next is apparently taking a little break for 2 weeks because Christmas, so that's funny. So they're going to take a break. I don't know. Like, that match will be damn good, I think. They're doing the Bullet Club thing, which is what everyone was hoping for, and it was good that they just, like, hat tip to it. They're like, we're giving it to you. I don't know. Maybe Kenny starts a feud with the Good Brothers, crosses them. He's got like a little bit of pomp to him now that I think they could drag out there and just be like, nah, I'm better than you. Even AEW is better than you. Blah, blah, blah.
The thing with Kenny, the thing with this whole partnership, quote unquote, is that it's very much just Kenny and Don right now. That's it. Don, of course, is Impact VP. So Impact's winning this partnership right now is what I'm getting at.
Oh yeah, 100%.
They're getting the eyes on it. They're going the right way.
Yeah, like it's a curious thing to me because the way they're doing it, you'd hoped for more, but the fact that they're keeping it so separate, like Kenny's on the bus every week and it's like, oh, okay. And they did this thing in the hallway this week, but it's like, okay, they're not really like, he's not in there. He's not really in the mix. And you don't get that feeling because they're keeping it so separate, because they're doing it, I think, on Kenny's time, because he's a busy man right now.
I will say this. They actually did a really good job of making it seamless doing those backstage edits, because they had to recut everything after Kenny won the title and add in the Impact stuff, because that was stuff that was already shot.
Did not know that. That's very funny.
So they actually had a pretty good continuity going, at least as someone in the back who got the right talent over and, set everything up properly. So it looked good is what I'm getting at.
Okay.
Yeah. So honestly, like I said, Impact is winning it in terms of the partnership. It's great to have Tony Khan and Tony Schiavone on your broadcast every week doing a paid sponsorship deal.
Again, this week, very funny.
So we'll move on from that. Next up, we were asked, why can't AEW mirror the NXT and Impact formula on their women's division? I sent out a tweet last night that got some traction.
Oh, I missed this somehow.
Oh boy.
Okay. What did you do?
Last night, AEW was running down their card for the Holiday Spectacular next week. Everybody had a match and everybody had a partner or a dance partner, whatever, in their match, except for Hikaru Shida.
No, she's in action, though.
That's the problem, Tim.
No, but she's in action. They're going to feed her someone.
But that's not how you do it.
I know.
I get that Dark is supposed to be a show that you watch and pay attention to. A lot of people aren't. That's fine. It's still part of the narrative. That's fine. AEW doesn't really care enough to put Dark into the narrative on their regular TV show, so that's kind of a problem. But the fact is, if everyone else is getting a match and everyone else knows who they're going to face next week, why can't you just say Sheeta's going to face this person? They've never stopped from picking person X who's coming in randomly. Someone that no one really knows.
Yeah. No. And it's like, you ask that question, why can't they? It's not that they can't. Like, of course they can. They have a deep women's division. They absolutely can. They choose not to. It is not in their business model. And honestly, like, some of the stuff I'm seeing on AEW, it's just very clear that this is not as forward thinking of a company as the fans are, like, putting on them. They really aren't. Like, they do some real old hat stuff, and I think that they're playing it safe on a lot of things, and they're too comfortable with mediocrity in a lot of regards, because they could be doing a lot more interesting things, and they're just choosing not to.
Right. Now, choosing not to, that's the problem.
And
because it's easy as that.
they have to give Cody his 20 to 30 minutes of FaceTime every week. And I think that eats into what they can program on Dynamite.
I'm going to ask this. I'm going to ask this real nice. Who gave them the gift of we're having a baby? Who left the gift at the door?
The immediate thing that popped into my head, I was like, okay, maybe they're taking this in a very cool way where they're getting harassed or something, and Cody's going to have a new actual storyline. Nope. It was just a bonkers vehicle to try to give that, like, to one, make their baby announcement, because they, had to do that a lot. And then
taking that Mox baby.
But Mox did it in a very subtle, normal human way, whereas Cody and Brandy did it in one of the most narcissistic ways I've ever seen. They then used Cody being a new father, or soon-to-be father, as the only narrative in that Angelico match, the match that we were like, why is this happening? And then they're like, oh, let's give it a story. How is Cody going to focus on this news that he almost certainly has known about for quite some time before publicly announcing it? Like, the two of them strike me as the type of people who will end up burning down Daly's place with a gender reveal party. Like,
oh God, that's perfect.
Like, it's so arrogant and it's weird to me. Like, I've been ripping on Cody, but like, it's getting to the point where it's like, no, you have seriously damaged this product for me, in my mind, as a fan, because you are very full of yourself, it feels like. Like, I just, it's too much. Like, that belt spot is atrocious. I hate it. He's not good enough to justify what he's doing.
Now, I'm not going to go too far into this, but I will say I feel bad for Jade Cargill.
Yeah. Like, what's she even doing? Like, she's just there. Her entire storyline is in the garbage now. And like, I have some serious questions. Either they did seriously just find this out, at which point they are immediately telling the world.
That's risky.
Or they knew about this and started that storyline. None of it makes sense. And I'm starting to think that Sting might actually be Darby's father. Just everyone's somebody's kid, and like, Darby's just always adjacent, and Sting cares a lot about Cody Rhodes for, again, reasons completely unknown. I don't know.
I feel so confused. I also feel bad for Shaq, but a little less so.
It's impossible for me to feel bad for Shaq.
I'm sure Jade and her best friend Shaq can go and, regroup and figure out what's next for them for their big AEW tag debut. Who knows? Maybe they'll face off against Kip Sabian and his new wife, Penelope Ford, soon to be.
Yeah. I did not like Dynamite at all this week, if you couldn't tell. And like, a large part of that is just, I have no idea what's going on anymore. Narratively, they've lost the thread. They've lost the thread entirely.
Hits and misses are later.
Yeah, but oh my God. Anyway, we'll come back, but it's all over the place.
Last thing we were asked about, and then we're going to get into hits and misses. I don't even think we'll have time for Impact talk, or at least much of it. But is NXT India needed? Yes. Yeah, flat out.
Why wouldn't
Alex
you?
Thomas had asked, is it needed? Yes. Is it needed the way that they're going to be doing it? Not so much, because WWE will be launching an NXT India program. It's expected to begin taping in January, by the way, and it will be broadcast digitally via WWE Network and on linear television in India. That was first reported by Brandon Thurston from WrestleNomics, whom, if you know, I talk about frequently, because he is just the guy when it comes to talking about numbers in wrestling. Yeah. Expected to be involved with this include Jinder Mahal, the Singh brothers, Indu Sher, remember them, Jeet Rama, and one or more of the three recruits who were recently signed to the company after the tryouts in Mumbai. That's Gurvinder Singh, Sukhwinder Grewal, and Lakshmikant Rajput. They're taping it at the PC.
Yeah, and that's the one piece, because right now circumstances are as they are. But like, ultimately, I feel like if they move it and production to India, fine. That makes a lot of sense to me. Like, that makes a ton of sense, because like, massive market. Massive talent pool to draw from as well. Like they can get over there and do really good work and make a decent chunk of change while they're at it. I probably won't tune in because there's enough wrestling and I already don't watch UK, but Of course they should do it. Like there's no question for me that whether or not they should do it. Absolutely.
Like, there was a time where the highest watched YouTube video for WWE was Kavita Devi, who is one of the NXT Indian superstars.
Yeah.
She had a match on the Mae Young Classic. That match was very, very highly numbered.
Yeah, no, they should absolutely it's not a surprise to me that they would do that. They should absolutely do it, and like it makes good business sense to do it. So, and
hopefully at the end of the day, the Indu Share guys don't overshare the taping results.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll take it. Listen, very quickly, Indie of the Week. I know they're not an independent, but Ring of Honor is hosting Final Battle 2020. It's going to be this Friday night, 9 p.m. It's on Fight TV. It's on Honor Club. It's on traditional pay-per-view. Pre-show starts at 8. By the way, if you want to watch some Ring of Honor, it's free on their website, ringofhonorwrestling.com. It's also the pre-show will be free on YouTube from 8 p.m. till 9, and then 9 o'clock is showtime. There are a lot of really great matches. Go out of your way to find it. You can find the card just about anywhere you look. There's a lot of really cool Ring of Honor info that's been dropped this past week, including how they're going to restructure their entire lineup. So things like how the pure title would work differently from how the television championship matches would work, different from world title matches in terms of timing, rules, ways to actually slot the matches. So there's some cool stuff coming from Ring of Honor. They're trying new stuff, and I appreciate it. So we did Impact talk. We're fine. All I'm going to say is that the Hard to Kill main event is going to be great. The women killed it again. And no, I did not love this week's episode of Impact. Fewer people watched it this week. And by the way, if you're paying attention, Impact is running a show called Genesis. That's going to be their next Impact Plus event. That's going to be with basically no build, or it's going to be exclusively online build, because the next 2 weeks, like you said, of Impact TV are best of / awards / no matches. That should be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I keep forgetting that they have these like events and the pay-per-views, and it trips me up. Like the Genesis thing, I was like, what's going on? Yeah, it's just they're trying to program a lot right now, and it can be a bit much for me to keep track of. But
if you're covering wrestling around this time, by the way, it's kind of nuts because you've got SmackDown on the 1st on New Year's Day, and then you have on the 4th is Wrestle Kingdom Day 1. That's Friday, or that's Monday the 4th. And then the next day is Wrestle Kingdom Night 2. You have Raw on the 4th. You have NXT New Year's Evil. You have AEW show as well. Their New Year's Bash. Friday's another SmackDown. The 9th is Genesis. It goes on. It basically runs all the way until mid-month. And then eventually the Rumble is, I guess, the 24th.
Yeah, it's a busy time. Like, it doesn't really slow down for this. And that makes sense to me. Like, right? It's a live entertainment format, which means that this time is actually go time. It's not take a step back time, which is why Impact is a bit odd for me, but I get it. Like they don't have the resources and they're all pre-taped, so. But like Tony Khan's hungry to try to get those ratings over the holidays. He's got their 3 holiday shows, and then you have WWE, who Vince McMahon is like old school as it comes with that. So like this is definitely the time to do some of the biggest work. So yeah.
Well, you can go to work and you can leave us some tip jar love over at streamlabs.com/Tim and Joel Pod. You can check us out, like the video, subscribe to us on YouTube. We just went over 100 subs. We'd love to keep building from there. We have some plans for 2021, folks. We have more stuff to offer you. And we also want to know what you want us to offer you too. So leave us a comment in the video. Come on. Tim, it's time for hits and misses. Are you ready?
Yes.
Start us off. What'd you like about SmackDown last week?
Oh, SmackDown.
Do you remember SmackDown?
Yep. I actually rewatched it. I like Sami Zayn's shirt. I think they made him a good shirt, and I would wear that shirt if it didn't say I am, and it just said Sami Zayn and had that terrible little cartoon figure on him. I think that Cedric and the boys did a good job. It's good.
You know that you and the Canadian watchers out there cannot have that shirt. You can't buy it on WWE Shop. It'll only ship to the US because they're doing a limited run.
That's rude.
Also, the shirt is $40
Okay, I wouldn't spend $40 for it anyway.
I'm gonna get myself a Sharpie and do it myself.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it would be better if it just said Sami Zayn, because I am not Sami Zayn, and Sami Zayn being Sami Zayn, I would confuse a lot of people because they don't
Maybe
know
you're
who
Sami
Sami
Zayn.
Zayn is.
It's you.
Yeah, exactly. Very
There you
confusing.
go. Someone in the chat. I'll make one at home for $5. Perfect.
Beautiful. Take it.
Here. Send me your white shirts. I'll make one for you now.
Oh man, it makes me think of there's actually a local guy who was at Super Kicked. What's his? He's
Danny.
like Homeless Brooks.
Oh,
Homeless
hell,
Brooks is his
that's
name.
not Danny.
And I, very drunk at one of his shows, bought one of his shirts, and it was basically that Sami Zayn shirt. So they stole that idea. It was a crude child's drawing on a plain white tee done in Sharpie, and I paid $20 for it, which is still unreasonable, but drinking.
I was thinking of Danny Granger, who does really, really good Sharpie art. So
Yeah.
he's not crap, by the way.
No,
Danny
no,
Granger makes amazing art. The pins you see on my Instagram, that's him. Go ahead, keep going.
KO and Roman killing it. Hearing Carmella cut a good promo and did a good match, which was good to see now. So I'm excited for their match on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm into it. I think we're on the same wavelength. The stuff that was good was really, really good. And Carmella and Sasha had one hell of a match. Bringing in Sydney Bateman from NXT, I'm into it. Gonna love watching a sommelier, an au pair, whatever you want to call him this week. He's gonna add to it.
Yeah. Anyway, the sommelier bit is very confusing. I'm not 100% sure they fully understand what that word means, but anyway.
No, he brought the finest like dollar store liquor.
The champagne was one. Does Carmella drink 5 bottles of champagne after a match every night? That's insane. 2, the sommelier was just warming one of them for like a while. Just held it in his hands, getting it good and warm, which is, as you know, is the mark of a good sommelier.
Right. You're gonna have to ask Corey Graves how Carmella likes her booze.
Oh man, plentifully it seems.
And yes, I'll agree that whole thing was great. But I'm also going to add blue Solo cups. I like that.
Yeah, they
only took months.
Yeah, it was very funny because it came unexpected, like midway through the match, and he does a little angel in it. It was fun.
Do we talk about KO and Roman?
There's nothing in detail other than like they're doing tremendous work. KO, like honestly, top performer in WWE, doesn't get enough credit. Honestly,
is KO?
Yeah, I mean, he's
got a Chronicle. He's got a WWE Chronicle on Saturday coming out.
Not enough credit.
Fair. What did you not like about SmackDown?
Good cue. I feel so bad for Baron Corbin because, like, I think in ring Corbin is like a capable wrestler. I think he takes whatever garbage they give him and he does his very best with it. But everything they give to Corbin sucks. Like, every single thing he's ever been a part of is so annoying to me. And, like, looking at the shaved Forgotten Sons is weird. Like, I don't know. They look dumb.
What's wrong with the Knights of the Lone Wolf?
Terrible name. Terrible. It sounds like an incel group. Like, I'm expecting a terrorist attack, which is not great. Like,
oof.
Yeah. That's the crap they've written. You're
right. And you know what? Corbin, if you've ever listened to an interview with him where he's not in character and he's doing his own thing, then he's actually quite good. He's quite endearing as well.
He seems like a good guy, and he like works like nobody's business. They just love, and like it's because he can pull it off and be that douchebag, but like the writing is also just boring and annoying. Like, I think given the right character, he could have been like really, really excellent, but now he's just filler, and I think he's been typecast, and there's no way out of it for him.
Guess we'll have to see what they do next with his new Knights of the Round Table thing going, right?
Yeah, I don't know. The metal detector was weird.
That made me laugh. Sorry, it did. It was so silly and so stupid.
So I love bad. What their getup is atrocious. I don't the hoodie blazer combo is a bit much for me.
And I'll add on to it. I did not love the Big E losing his match. Didn't make sense. Didn't love it.
I didn't mind that. I thought that it was a good match, and I think that Sami Zayn, he's unlocked the secret. He's figured out how to win. you do a Roadrunner thing, and then you win.
I thought the secret was manifesting things to reality.
That's a different secret. That's
My
a
bad.
secret I don't want to talk about. No, I mean, okay, no, but this sets up, like, what this sets up for me is that Big E is going to get the Intercontinental title soon, which is
Yes.
the right direction. So
okay, I can deal with it. It wasn't high on my misses. It was just something I noticed that I didn't really love.
Yeah.
So I'll do it. And just Sammy is having the time of his life. I'm okay with that. Big E and him can have one hell of a feud. They've already started it. I'm good to go with that.
Yeah.
So we'll move over to Raw. I'll kick us off. Loved the Nightmare Before TLC. I thought the segment was good. I didn't love that basically Vince McMahon has one joke when it comes to Scottish people, and that's to have literally John Morrison both times dress up as Braveheart. They did it in 2010, 2009, 2010 in another feud that McIntyre and John Morrison were in the middle of. And then they did it again on Monday night. But it was still funny. The segment was cute. I love the part where they do the light snap and the light comes down. They're like, oh, and almost. Like, no, we had to write him out. And then they just snap and he's gone. It was cute. I liked it. And then AJ and Sheamus had an amazing match.
So good. Great way to start
Killed
Raw.
it.
Like, yeah. I mean, again, Sheamus doing good. Doing really good every time he's out there. Really enjoyed it.
Probably having the best run of his career, since coming back.
Same, yeah, absolutely.
Into it. What else did you like?
What did I like? Like, I liked the backstage bits. I didn't mind Riddle's stuff. Like, it's kind of growing on me. It's pretty funny at times. I thought the show overall was okay. Like I said, it's been better than it has been in weeks for me. Because, like, there were some good matches, some good matches. There was some good backstage stuff.
That is a hot take. You liked Raw.
I know. It's weird. I feel... I guess I'm the real lone wolf out here on my own.
Look at your nights. Yeah. What didn't you like about Raw?
Lana's written out for some reason.
We just talked about it.
Like, it looked like crap, too. Like, the beatdown looked terrible.
She can bend, though. That's one thing that I like, is that Lana can bend, so they make it believable.
Yeah, but I don't know. Nia's slow and clunky, so it didn't
That's
work.
True.
Retribution continues to be a thing. Sucks. Yep. And then Jackson Riker's back, and then they interrupted it with the other thing I absolutely can't stand, the 24/7 championship.
Now, I'm going to post in the chat how I spelled Jackson Riker's name so that people can have a good idea of what that looks like. But yes, Elias and Jackson Riker, not a big fan of that. I wasn't lost on me either who Jackson Riker beat up in that 24/7 segment, especially after the things that Jackson Riker had to say. Yeah, not a thing. And of course, we talked about Lana being pulled. We talked about that at the opening of the show. It's going to be a weird TLC. It's going to be a weird story. So let's move on, shall we? We flip the switch. You want to talk about NXT or AEW first?
Let's go AEW.
AEW. Tell me what you didn't like.
Well, I think I went on at length already about that lame-ass baby announcement.
Oh, boy.
And the weak story they gave the Angelico match, which, again, like, love Angelico, can't stand Cody. Match played out exactly how I expected. The entire night, there was one woman shrieking in the audience.
I did not notice that.
Yeah, it was very unpleasant. Like, it's that small crowd, you know? This is the one disadvantage to it, is there was one very noticeable person just shrieking off and on all night. Very unpleasant. Cody's new shirt looks like crap. Just gotta like, I can't stand Cody anymore. And the commentary sounded bored all night. Like, I think that there were some matches that were pretty good, but then the commentary inhibited it. Like, it didn't give it that extra lift that I think a lot of the matches needed, and it just didn't. It felt lifeless whole night for me.
Yeah, it was kind of a down night going into it. AEW has been producing lately, but getting to the holiday season, everyone's getting a little lazy, right? Everyone's getting a little close to the end of the year. The Eddie Kingston shit show segment, wasn't a big fan of it, to be perfectly frank.
No, yeah, it was disappointing. Eddie's usually on point, but this was a mess.
Just get Lance Archer out there and have a bunch of other people show up, and it was just discombobulated. Wasn't great. That's fine. 82-man tag, not for me.
Yeah, I don't know. It just didn't.
It went on, and the ending made no sense. Didn't need the bat, didn't need any of the bells and whistles, but and Jericho needs to cut promos without a shirt from now on. Is that a contractual
That was
thing?
so weird.
Very awkward.
I also read that I wanted to check if that New York Times thing was a thing, because apparently it's a thing.
Yep.
Is the New York Times this pompous all the time? Like,
I'll let our listeners figure that out.
That article was awful. So douchey.
Woof.
Couldn't stand
All right, what do you like about AEW?
What did I like? Dr. Britt Baker.
Yep.
Like, again, the de facto women's division is the NWA women's division anyway. So, like, Serena Deeb did good. Oh my God, I put negative stuff in the positive stuff. Dr. Britt Baker, that's it. That was my highlight. Thunder Rosa and Dr. Britt Baker's promo. I then complained some more about AEW, but I think I've done enough of that.
All right, I'll give you the good stuff. Kenny versus the man we stand in our house, and that's Joey Janela, right?
It was good. It was short. I would have liked to see a little bit more offense from Joey, but
decent match, still fun. We all knew what it was going to be, but Joey getting in some of the offense and getting in some of that
table spot that was good.
Yeah, why not? Let him shine a bit. Women's tag match was actually really good, short as it was, but that's AEW now, isn't it? And you know what? For as little a time as he was on the screen, bringing out Taz and having Powerhouse Hobbs be like, "I'll kick his ass," just being like young and dumb and ready to throw down with 62-year-old Sting. Love it. And then having Team Taz just be like, we'll do it another day. It's not bad.
They definitely could. Like, that or not. Like, I don't know. And Darby Allin would have had such a long way to come to actually come save his father. So
yeah, would have had to clear the concourses and several flights of stairs. All right, talk to me about NXT. Tell me what you did not like about NXT.
The Xia Li thing was a bit much. Like, are they PG? I don't know what the ratings are, or the parental ratings are anymore. That was violent. And then Wade on commentary, the second we come back, says the obvious and is just like, oh, whatever they're going through, they're not going to come back. They're going to come back changed. And I was like, yeah, thanks. I got what you're going for. It's a bit much. Also, if that was happening to one of your employees and you had video footage of it, maybe go to the cops.
No. They know what they're doing. And plus, nobody knows where they are.
Guess not. They're just getting mysterious tapes every week. Yeah, it was a lot for a wrestling show, I found. I don't know. We'll see.
Do you think Xia Li and Boa are still showing up for training at the PC?
Yeah, I assume. Like,
they must be like, it mix of PTSD and just like super psyched to come to the PC versus the other thing they're doing.
I guess Regal tried to find them, didn't he?
And he found Boa, and Boa was like, she's coming. And he was like, you're not coming to the PC. Where you at? And they're like, he's coming. Yeah,
so I guess they aren't. I guess she's coming. So
ready for Karen Q. All right. Anything else?
Hold on. Yeah. I don't like Karrion Kross.
Tell me about it.
This is the hot take. This is a big one. His entrance is so good that it hinders how much I can like him in the ring. He's got to kill a guy. Like, that's what he's got to do. He's got to literally like kill a guy in WWE for this to work. I feel what is his character? Is he a hitman? Like, is that a thing? Is he a murderer?
He brings doomsday. He's a doomsday bringer.
The one match I've seen him in, he immediately got hurt. That sucks. That sucks for your character.
That does suck.
And anytime WWE does this, where they say a guy's in action, I immediately know, okay, so he's going to wrestle some nobody. They put some nobody in there, and they don't even give the nobody an entrance. They're just a title card with a name. It's like, okay, so this match will be 2 minutes tops. He did the same things. He did a couple of the same suplexes, like the back body drop and like one that was almost a pump handle. And then he did the choke out, the rear naked choke that is his finisher, which he needs to make look very, very violent for this to work. And they don't sell it for him. Like every time he puts that in, he has to do what Taz used to do, right? Like people got a ragdoll when they're in it, and he's got to yank them hard down to the ground, and it's not happening. Like he'll do like a, but it's like, no. You got to turn into a ragdoll on your way down from a standing position.
Gotta learn to take those bumps.
It's like, it's him and Dexter Lumis that like, I really want to like their characters a lot. But like when you're building someone up like this, like you gotta like do a Dolph Lundgren in Rocky 4. Like you gotta kill a guy. Someone's gotta die. Like if Karrion Kross came in and did, like if Lesnar was doing it, fine. That's like, that would have been an awesome character for Lesnar because he comes in and he's enormous and he destroys people. Karrion, they put him with a guy he can't throw around first with Keith Lee, which is tough. And like Karrion's not a small dude, but like he's really gotta throw people around to sell that type of an entrance. And it's the same thing with Lumis. Like if you're a serial killer, you gotta make some people disappear backstage here and there. Like make an interesting character.
Well, let's talk about Dexter Lumis as the New Year's Evil host. Not on my list.
The one thing that Wade did say right after that made a lot of sense to me was the guy doesn't even talk.
That's right. It doesn't really make much sense. If he's going to draw out the match cards, I hope it's not live because it'll take 90 minutes just to get the next match up on the screen. And I'll add in the Shotzi promo. Shotzi's one of my favorites. Unfortunately, that promo from her was not, you could just see it in her eyes. She was trying to remember the words. Not a big deal, but not my favorite thing.
No,
let's talk about what you liked.
She hasn't been super strong on the mic.
We'll get there.
Kyle O'Reilly, Pete Dunne. Fantastic.
Ooh, yes.
Very, very, very good. Overall, still a strong show. Like, yeah. I liked Finn's promo. Nice and short. They went with the winner that we didn't expect. We were saying that Pete Dunne was going to win this because they broke each other last time. And I think that that's a risk that it might happen again. But I guess they have faith and they're throwing them right back at each other, which is exciting.
Well, let them break each other again.
Yeah.
Fine by me.
Broke his frickin' jaw.
That's right. Do it again.
Yeah.
Maybe now he comes back with a stronger jaw.
Maybe. Steel reinforced.
Anything else from NXT that you loved?
No, like it was good. It was a very good thing. The main event was good. Like it was all pretty solid. Like I like NXT. I don't know. People criticize it for the simple storytelling, but it's like it's wrestling, man, and nobody else is exactly telling complicated or highbrow stories. Like the simple at this is at least good.
I will add in the opening match between Kushida and Leon Ruff taking on Gargano and Theory. Great match. And it was a fun match, and it told the tale. Austin Theory, for better or worse, is back, and they're going to start to rehab him. His finisher was crisp. It looked good, and it's impactful. So why not? It's just going to be there, and it was a good match. Kushida will be thrown upward from here because he had a great showing as well.
And this is something that I think Vince doesn't really get is the value in some of these small, in like having a mix of different body types, body sizes, body shapes. Like having Leon Ruff in the ring as like a legitimate competitor helps everybody because there's a much wider variety in what you see from week to week, right? Because like it's the same thing I was complaining about with Karrion. Like if every guy's enormous, Karrion's not. Like with Leon Ruff around, he sells so well and he makes other guys look amazing at times while still keeping himself like as like a legitimate contender, which is nice to see.
Yeah, and I will add that Tyler Rust had an excellent debut as well.
Another one.
Had the right dance partner. Yeah,
thought they were going to feed him to Ciampa, and no, it was great. Really good match. It's very surprising.
Commentary put him over as well, so they have some ideas for Tyler Rust, and I'm all for it. I think we need that stuff.
I will say they kind of buried him at the top, but like it played out well. Yeah, it played out really well.
And they showed during the break Malcolm Bivens coming out and taking Tyler Russ back and, come back. I'll help you out.
Yeah.
Down with that. Let's do that.
Yeah, it was
More
really
of that. And then the main event, Tony and Rhea did it. Loved it. Great. I'm not going to say a bad thing about the women's division in NXT, especially when they're given a main event slot like that. It was good stuff.
No,
those two had
solid.
great matches in NXT UK. If you go back and watch them, I recommend it. They did a good job.
Yeah, very, very good.
I think we did it, Tim.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I think we made it.
We actually did it.
My God. SmackDown is tomorrow night. Let's give it to you real quick if you're listening live, or maybe you watch later. Maybe you're going to watch it before SmackDown. Street Profits are going to take on... Oh, maybe you're listening. Street Profits are going to take on Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Bayley will take on Bianca Belair. I'm sure Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns are going to do their thing. And finally, if you're in the US and you're watching, SmackDown will be on FS1. It will not be on Fox. It will be on FS1. So keep an eye out tomorrow if you're watching SmackDown. Tim, where can the kids find you?
Kids can find me at TimStoneP, TIMBSTONEP on Twitter. And you?
And you can find us at Tim and Joel Pod, timandjoelpod.com, tip jars up, streamlabs.com/Tim and Joel Pod. We're on PW Unlimited this weekend, giving our TLC predictions. Like the video, subscribe to us on YouTube. Fightful Gaming streams Saturdays 8 p.m. with Jeremy Lambert, Joe Holbert, myself. And I am at Joel Pearl. You can find me all over the place like that. And I guess that's it. Ladies, gentlemen, friends, behind, beyond, above, whatever, above the binary. Just going to keep talking until I figure out my words.
You got there eventually.
Got there. If you like us, put us in your ears and tell your friends to put us in your ears because that helps as well. But for now, enjoy your wrestling. We'll see you next week.